Hello, Falcon Paladin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sir Somicron. It is good to be here at the podcast. Sorry it's late. Didn't have a voice yesterday, but it is back now, so that is good.
It is slightly back now. I can still hear you sounding a little croaky,
Yep.
so I won't get you to do any of those voice acting roles that I had lined up when you read your favorite bits of Mortis later. Maybe I'll let you rest your throat. It's fine.
Okay. I appreciate that. All right. So yeah, again, sorry it's a day late, but we're here. We are ready to go. Things are awesome. It is cold here and hot there, which is how the world should be right now.
Yep, true
Uh-huh.
facts.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
How cold is it?
Actually 32 degrees outside, which is just above freezing.
That is lovely temperature weather. Love that.
Yeah. Got some snow. It's not sticking to the roads though, and I'm
Mm.
totally okay with snow as long as it doesn't stick to the roads. It can be on the lawns and the trees and look nice, but once it's on the roads, it sucks and it's hard to drive on and it gets dirty and disgusting and it's terrible. So,
As your oldest boy, who's got a car now, has he driven in
hmm.
snow yet?
He has not yet. Well, not on his own.
Okay.
While he was learning, we drove in some snow and taught him some things. So,
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah.
So my brother was away the other day. He was off on like a school camp because he's a teacher, so he has to go on those. Um, and my other housemate he's gone on like a holiday, and so it was just me and my brother's girlfriend at home, and we're like, well, what do you want to do tonight? And we're like, let's watch Hot Frosty, the new Christmas movie on Netflix with the hot snowman and
Oh, who's in that? Who's the actress?
the actress. I don't know. I think she's in Mean Girls though.
A Mean Girls actress.
Yeah, because there's a point where and I think it's another person from Mean Girls is on like TV, and she goes, "Huh, I think I used to go to high school with that person." Um,
Lol.
it is Lacey
Lacey Chabert. Yeah,
Chabert.
she
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Oh, that's really funny. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Craig Robinson's in here. That's exciting.
He plays basically Doug Judy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's very funny.
Except he's a sheriff instead of a career criminal.
Yeah, but there are times where he has a badge in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, mostly a stolen badge, but he acts like he would have been as a cop in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
basically all of the snow in that looks like styrofoam. None of it looks like real snow. And like there are people
Mm.
driving and I'm just like it doesn't even like I imagine it's slippery to drive in. I don't know. It just doesn't look like cars were moving right on snow.
Yeah, probably not, honestly.
Probably not.
Probably not, if I had to guess. Okay, so basically, she brings a snowman to life with magic, and he's hot,
It's hot.
but then he's gonna melt,
Yep.
and that's real sad.
And that's real sad, yeah.
I also got Jolo Trulio's in here from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep, he also plays a cop in this. So it is literally Boyle and Doug Judy the entire
It's a
time.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine Mean Girls mashup
Yeah.
TV show. That's exciting. It's got 5.4 out of 10 stars on IMDb, which is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think most Christmas movies are going to be
Oh,
a good movie. Like, I'm just not really interested in that. But
fair.
going in willing to make fun of this with a friend was a great way to do it.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
Let's do it that way, everyone.
yeah, it was lots of
Yeah,
fun.
no, that's great. What was I gonna say? Oh no, you had something else. Go ahead. Did you?
Did
No?
it? No.
Okay. In that case, yeah, I listened to a podcast where this guy that I listened to about he's like a big movie buff. He says the last like big traditional Christmas movie that everybody watches and people watch on Christmas all the time is Elf from 2003.
Directed by John
And
Favreau.
since
Yep.
and since then there hasn't been any like big tentpole Christmas movie that everybody like likes to watch on Christmas. And they're all just all of these like Christmas with the Cranks and like Hot Frosty and like they're not classics, they're Christmas movies, but I don't know what's going on, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Red One with Chris Evans and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Uh-huh.
Basically, he says the podcaster says that they're trying to set it up as like a Christmas franchise movie,
Okay.
but he's like, this isn't gonna work because there's like no Christmas magic, there's no like religious angle to it at all, and
Does there need to be a religious angle?
there doesn't, but there needs to be some like Christmas magic, right? Because
Sure.
Elf has it, and like Miracle on 34th Street has it, and It's a Wonderful Life has a religious angle and some little bit of magic there, and
Die Hard, very magical.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Home Alone, very magical.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
Nightmare Before Christmas, very magical.
yes, that one for sure.
Yeah. 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 All three
Home
were.
Alone. Does Home Alone have a supernatural element to it?
No.
Well, are we to believe that an 8-year-old can fight off 2 veteran home burglars?
I mean, it's okay. Look, if you were to make an itinerary of how quickly he would have had to move and set up all of these traps, including design and, locate, test, bug test, and all these things, sure, he's probably a genius. That
Yeah.
falls into the realms of supernatural intellect. He
Yeah.
might be a Primarch on a Lost World.
Correct.
But
I
no, I
did
don't
read a
think
blog post where somebody argued that Kevin McAllister was a demon sent from hell to torment Marv and what's the other guy's name? It's Marv and
Marv and
Harry. Marv and Harry,
Harry. Yeah, Harry
the
Lime.
burglars. Yeah. To torment them for their sins.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Somebody made a pretty compelling argument about that. So, anyway, yeah. So there is a supernatural element in Home Alone.
Sure.
Anyway, he was just trying to figure out how come it hasn't been done. Like, is it just the complete lack of like, are they trying? Like, are the Christmas movies today just cash grabs, right? Like, somebody wants to watch a Christmas movie. Let's put out a Christmas movie. We don't care if it's good. We don't care if it's a tentpole Christmas film. We're just
So
gonna put it out. People are gonna watch it at the end, right?
my assumption is all of these want to be tentpole Christmas movies. Absolutely every single one of them sees who's it, Mariah Carey come on
Yeah.
every Christmas, singing
And
a
make
song.
$800 million.
Right, a song she wrote or at least recorded 30 years ago at this point.
1996.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think every single one of them want that. They absolutely do. And I think that is generally the only reason Christmas music and Christmas films get made is because people want that. They want it to come back every year, forever.
Okay, but so they're just failing at it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably. That's what I
Okay.
think. Yeah, because
I
like
get it.
we have good Christmas music. If you can call it that. Like, there's a reason Mariah Carey sticks around. Nobody's replaced it yet. There's a reason why, when it comes to actual Christmas movies, things like The Grinch or Nightmare Before Christmas still get talked about because they're good. Like, we haven't needed to replace them, and dethroning them is going to be difficult.
Sure, but we had a nice litany of Christmas movies before Elf, and Elf still managed to pull it off, right? We had It's a Wonderful Life. We had The Grinch. We had Nightmare Before Christmas. We had all this stuff. And then Elf came along and said, I want to be added to the pile, Bunk. And it did.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
So no one's been able to do it since.
Nobody
right?
Nobody here watches Elf that regularly. I don't feel like.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a big deal here, I guess.
Okay.
So,
I don't know. Again, I'm the wrong person to really talk about it because I don't watch many of these movies more than once.
fair.
Like, I'd be willing to bet stuff like Polar Express is still on TV regularly around Christmas.
Ooh, Polar Express.
2004.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're arguing the most recent one is actually the Polar Express.
Yeah,
with their dead-eye CGI children that are terrifying.
Look, it's simply a Christmas movie I can name, okay?
Yeah, no, look, you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's a Christmas movie, and it's relatively endured in culture. I don't think you're wrong about that.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime. You could watch it out there if you want. That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Ooh, that might be. I mean, again, it is '04.
We're shifting the dial by a year. Yeah.
Right. The point I think still kind of stands.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that's not a good. That's not a bad entry.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Also, I would say there's been I would say it's a relatively recent thing to get Christmas thrillers, where it's like it's Santa, but he shoots people. I don't think they were doing
Oh
that 30 years ago.
no, what's that? Violent Night? Is that what that was? No.
Silent Night. Yeah.
Was it Silent Night?
Silent Night 2023. Yeah. There's also one called Fat Man, where it's got Mel
Violent
Gibson.
Night.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's
the Violent Night and
David
Silent Night.
Harbour.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the David Harbour one, Violent Night, was honestly way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh really?
It's honestly a good movie somehow.
Okay.
I might put that in my rotation. Because, yeah, that's 2022.
Are the kids old enough to watch that yet?
Definitely not.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there's Silent Night,
There's
which
two movies here
is...
called Silent Night, I see.
Oh. This one
Yeah.
doesn't seem very Christmassy.
Oh, really?
It's a John Woo film, though, from 2023. Joel Kinnaman, Kid Cudi. Is it a Christmas movie? It is on Christmas Eve. A man witnesses the death of his young son when the boy gets caught in crossfire between warring gangs. And then he goes and kills everyone. Less of a Christmas movie than Violent Night is, I think.
It's a movie set at Christmas.
Ish. Yeah.
Hmm.
What's Fat Man about? Mel Gibson and Walter Goggins. Hell yeah. This one is a boot. Is it a comedy? Somebody asks. To save his declining business, Kris Kringle. Okay, so literally Santa Claus is in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So he's forced into a partnership with the U.S. military. Making matters worse, Kris Kringle gets locked into a deadly battle of wits against a highly skilled assassin hired by a precocious 12-year-old after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking. Christmas movie. Totally a Christmas movie.
Uh-huh. Yep.
There's a Violent Night 2. When did that come out?
Oh, really?
Yes. Wait, no. It is announced, but it's not out yet.
Okay.
It'll start filming next year. Hell yeah, Violent Night 2. Let's go. David Harbour killing people in a Santa costume. Let's do this.
I'm down.
More of that, please.
I am so down.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what? Maybe there are some things. There are some movies that are classics. Because, yeah, you're right. They're trying. The Christmas Chronicles in 2018, starring freaking Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Sure.
They tried to make this a tentpole, but it got 67% on Rotten Tomatoes and 50% on Metacritic. It's just not good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we spent way too much time on this. We have other stuff to talk about today. How do we get stuck on this topic?
Hot Frosty. Yeah.
Hot Frosty. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So in short, Hot Frosty is not a tentpole Christmas movie, but if you want a Christmas movie to make fun of with a friend, it's a great option.
That's really good. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, good. Do we want to talk about the ending of Arcane?
Yes. Let us talk about Arcane.
Okay, so Arcane Season 2 wrapped up on Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are. Just a couple days ago. They dropped their final 3 episodes.
That they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, does it feel like the first 3 episodes of this season really feel like they should have been on the end of last season. That should have just been a 12 episode run. Because it feels like at the end that Jinx, who is arguably the centerpiece character, right? She's on all of the promotional material. Doesn't have anything to do in like the last 3 episodes, right? She's just a character who is now broken and is kind of lost in life.
Yeah, she accidentally killed her adopted dad.
Mm-hmm.
He is wanted by a lot of people in the Undercity and everybody in Piltover.
Uh-huh.
So she's a wanted person. She's wandering around. She's kind of hiding out. She has no, yeah, she has really nothing going for her at all. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like her adopted daughter kills herself and her dad. Um,
Later.
later, I'm talking about
Yeah.
like what happens at the end of mid-season, like the end of the middle arc, middle 3 episodes. Season
Oh.
2. Like I'm talking about by the midpoint of season 2, she doesn't have a lot to do, right? Like she's burnt out on
Oh.
revenge, right? She's effectively not joining any of the campaigns to like resist Piltover invasion or aggression, right? Um,
Right.
despite Isha's encouragement, she's just I don't know. She has a child and she's being chill about it, you know? And so it feel like I know that there's a time skip in this, but I just feel like there's some of the characters felt like, oh well, they need to show up at the end because they need to show up at the end for the fight.
Yeah. So you're saying that Jinx showing up at the final fight feels like Jinx needs to be here, but she doesn't really have a motivation to be here.
I don't know, because like she's in prison. Kate basically lets Vi bust her out,
Yeah.
but she just kind of like wanders off and is like, all right, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah. And then she doesn't.
And then she doesn't. And then later she does.
Well, only because Echo
Echoes.
shows up.
Right. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I just feel like all of the interesting arcs of this character do not happen in these last couple of episodes. And then she kind of just shows up because Echo is like, but hey, why don't you just go and do a thing? And she's like, oh, all right, I'll do a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she doesn't have a lot of compelling reason to go back. I think Echo kind of pulls that out of his butt.
Yeah, but that's because Echo knows who she could have been, right? The
Sure.
whole reason he even tries, he wouldn't have tried. If he doesn't spend time in the alternate universe where Jinx isn't extremely fucked up,
Uh-huh.
then I think he's like, go for it, man. Like, bully yourself. Give me a chance to get like a few more feet away here,
Wait.
but go for it.
Right.
You are ready to die.
Right.
Yeah, so I honestly think that episode where Heimerdinger and Echo are in the alternate universe is like maybe the best one in the season.
That is very true. I really like that episode,
Yeah.
right? I do not hate that episode, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But
Yeah.
we never really get Jinx a chance to go back into Powder. She's just like, well, there's no fixing this. I guess I'll make myself another Gatling gun and go and fight things with my sister.
Yeah.
Because she just dies at the end. Spoilers, I guess.
Oh.
Presumably. We've already...
She falls. Nobody who falls ever dies on TV shows or movies.
Emperor
right?
Palpatine, I'll have you... Right, yeah, it's
Exactly.
true. Okay,
Yeah.
look, we've already discussed that death isn't death, right? With
Right.
Vanda. But I feel
Yeah.
like she's dead, right? I feel like the show was trying to tell us she's dead.
Nope.
You don't
Sorry.
think so? You don't think Violet
No.
being upset at the end there is like, my sister's dead?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. They already mourned Vander and brought him back. Like, they're all about jerking people around with the deaths of loved ones that turn into not actual deaths of loved ones.
Okay. So what you're saying is
Ridiculous.
this show is like a 6 out of 10 then?
No, I'm just saying there are some holes to pick at it because there's always holes to pick at anything.
True.
Yeah, and I mean most of the holes I'm picking are just in story more than anything else, and pacing and some things.
Yeah, it is zippy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I do think I would have liked to see the conversation between Echo and Jinx. I would like to see exactly what Echo said because I feel like what he said was, you know, I just spent like a month in this alternate universe where you're okay. You didn't get raised by Silco. Vander didn't die. Like, I know what you're capable of. And in this other universe, Vi is dead. And here she's alive. Like, your sister is alive, and yes, things are screwed up between you two, and things aren't good necessarily, but she's alive. You
Mm.
should go try to save her. Like, you
Mm.
should go try to help her because she's not dead. She could be dead. Think about it from that perspective, right?
Yeah. I
And so
feel
Jinx is like, no, all right,
I
fine.
feel like you could we should definitely have seen that conversation because
Yeah,
there's a lot of like cuts to his timey-wimey device that has a bunch of those little monkeys that Jinx uses with the symbols
uh-huh.
in it, and it's like, okay, so there's like Powder's trademark signature on a device that she built. It's the same one that Jinx uses. So you have this at least proof, I guess, that hey, I built this with you, and she has like a reason to believe that, rather than
Yeah,
just like here's a guy who disappeared a couple years ago, suddenly come back, spouting some shit, you know.
right, right.
Um,
Yeah, and yeah, would have been nice. And I mean, to the pacing and to the where could we have found time for that conversation?
mhm.
The whole Black Rose storyline,
Right,
we can get rid of it. I don't think it matters. If
right.
you want to introduce the Black Rose, like apparently it's this big lore thing in League of Legends,
That
like they wanted to introduce it.
mhm.
It's a thing they have, but I think it's fine. I think Mel's conflict with her mother did not need the Black Rose to be involved at all.
Mm.
I don't think the Black Rose needed to be involved in Mbessa's attempt to conquer Piltover, or her alliance with Victor,
Mhm.
or Mel discovering her magic capabilities. I don't think Black Rose needed to be involved in any of those things.
Mhm.
And
That
it
was
saves us a pretty big chunk of time if they're just gone.
right. That was like my 2 points, like my two takeaways from the season, which is some of the characters feel like they don't have anything really driving them anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jinx being the main point there. The second
Yeah.
one being, it was just right, being like, hey, I want to show off tiny bits of the lore that are like not tiny in like scope of what they handle. It's like, okay, Black Rose is this secret shadowy organization pulling strings from behind the curtain all across the world, and I
Yeah.
want to show off that this world has secret organizations. So why? Why do we care
Yeah.
about that?
Why do it now? If you're
I don't know.
planning on doing more stories set in Runeterra, introduce them, give them their own story. Do it later.
Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you could have dropped some like Easter eggs and some hints here, because
Yeah.
like not Victor, Jace like jumps back from his time spent in a fantastic world where all of his loved ones are happy and alive, um, much like Echo and Heimerdinger. Uh, and we don't get any context for that. He's just like, man on a mission, I'm gonna go do a thing. You
Yeah.
could imagine if we cut out all of the stuff of Mel after she gets kidnapped by like some Black Rose magic, and it's like, okay, what was that? And then she just pops back and is also woman on a mission, gonna go do something, and it's like all of that is left as a teaser for what happens next. And like the reason she's fighting her mum is for the legitimate reasons that she goes into that we think she's doing them for. Mainly the citizens of Piltover, right? And
Right.
all of those, because like that's essentially everyone else's motivation, isn't it? it
Totally.
it's got to
Totally
be good
is.
enough
Yeah.
for everyone else. We get tons of really cool scenes of like people coming together from Zorn, people fleeing, all of them signing up to fight against this newly arisen big bad, and then Mel is just like, yes, but I'm doing it as a secretly as a trap to like kill someone who works in the Black Rose. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
don't need that. Do a
No.
couple of Easter eggs. Do your next show, which won't be called Arcane, because we've been told Arcane will only have 2 seasons, but you'll keep
Right.
making shows, and have it there.
I don't know if they'll be as expensive as Arcane, which apparently was $250 million for season 1 and season 2.
Yikes.
Yeah. Crazy yikes. I mean, they're paying some pretty big time voice actors. The animation, I'm sure, is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
The music is always pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it just. Yeah.
So you could have Arcane season 1 and 2 for $250 million, or you can have Red 1 for $250 million.
Is that really the budget of Red 1?
Yes.
Gross. Yeah, yeah. Arcane 1 and 2 is way better.
Uh-huh.
And way more time, too. That's 2 seasons of 9 episodes each as compared to 2 hours of one movie.
Yeah.
Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely still set up that they're going to do more because, like, Singe doesn't die. He's basically absent from the last episode, other than, like, mad scientist reviving Victor. And, like, or at
Yeah.
least the thing that Victor's in. But at the end, he's, like, he's gone back to his daughter and revived her?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who,
I
like,
thought at first, like, maybe she was a hex zombie, like
okay,
everybody
yeah.
else, but
Yeah.
she seems different.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like she's actually been restored to what she was, and he seems pretty happy with it. So,
Um,
yeah, like,
well,
Sin gets a happy ending.
so I did mention this character in last week or the week before because like there was a character who I know is like a robot who gets turned into a robot after a tragic accident in Zorn, right?
Mm.
And I thought that's who that character is because that's a robot girl. That's,
Ah.
and I thought it would be the lovely Scottish redhead,
Maddie!
Maddie, Officer Maddie Nolan, who I have now have mixed feelings towards.
I was going to say, the one you fell in love with, and then she was immediately sucks.
You know, I think I can redeem her. I think I can change. Her.
You could fix her.
I can fix her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was good. I thought that was a pretty good reveal. It's quick. It's very much like they don't give you a lot of reasons to suspect her of anything.
They give you one, but they play it off really well, which is why she already knows Vi's name.
Ooh, yeah,
Because she was told to basically get close to Caitlyn, and you do that by getting close to Vi first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Also, Loris turns out to just be a good guy, looking out for
Just
his
a
friend.
guy.
Just a guy.
Did he get words in the final 3 episodes?
Yes. There's a bit where he's like on the shipping cannon and he says something.
Oh,
He says some
okay.
words, and I think 2 of them are
Pull the lever, Krong.
Yeah, I think he says reload.
Ooh, yeah, that's it. Reload. He is like so coded as a character on the level of like a Maddie, but then he's not.
Nope.
There's nothing about him that's important.
Well, yeah,
It's so weird. It is such a weird way to design a character.
everyone is important, Falcon.
They are not. Untrue.
Uh,
What else?
what else happened?
Yeah.
What else do
I
you
mean,
want to talk about?
the whole Echo Jinx thing is just brutal because he spends again maybe a month in other universe where Jinx is like her sister's dead and she's not like perfectly mentally healthy, right?
Right.
But like she cares about other people, like
she-
maybe to the exclusion of her own needs.
Right. She's still a person who is approachable to you and I in terms of like normal. You know, it's like
Yeah.
everyone on this planet has like known someone who they've lost and didn't cope with it well, or has gone through something a bit rough and had family members be like, "Well, we need to keep an eye on you for a little bit," you know, reach out and do some
Right.
stuff. And she is, I don't know, it's interesting 'cause she definitely maybe holds a grudge to Echo because it was his tip that they go into this place and that gets Vi killed.
Yeah,
But
but
she-
they're in a romantic relationship, so it's nothing that bad.
By the end of it, they kind of are. Like, it didn't.
No, he says, "Can we pretend like it's the first time?"
Oh,
They've
right.
kissed before.
Right.
I don't know
Well,
if that means that they're a couple. I don't know if that means if they've just kind of fooled around a little bit before. It's not very clear.
Right.
There is the line from the bartender guy who goes, "Where would you be without her?"
Right.
to Echo. Then
Yeah.
that
Sure.
implies to me there's something going on there.
Mm. I assume just because they're collaborators on a technical level,
Hmm.
and like if they're an inventor, she's kind of actually the brains behind everything.
Could be it on a professional level. Yeah.
Because if nothing else, she might be batshit, but Jinx is very adept with a hammer and like a
Yeah.
wrench and screws and bolts and stuff.
Right. Right. Anyway, the point is, poor Echo is given this future where things are good and like it could maybe work out between him and Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not insane and murderous. And then he gets dumped back into his universe
Yeah.
where she is insane and murderous.
Mm-hmm.
And she's dead. Again, going with what the show wants us to think and what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just been given this like horrible gift of knowing what could have been,
Again. Right.
and then it's just ripped away from him forever, you
Not
know?
not even is it a gift of knowing what could have been. He entirely had the option to stay there as well. Right.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But he says there's people back there that need me, and he's right.
Hmm?
The people need him because without Echo, everyone dies.
It's true.
He is the boy savior that Jinx called him in season 1.
Yeah. It,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's just like again, I would rate Arcane overall as like a 9 out of 10. It's a good show. I don't give anything like above a 9, but it
Me
would be
too.
like a 9.999 if they hadn't done multiversal shit. Because I
Ooh.
am just so tired of that. And like, I loved everything that happened between Echo and Heimerdinger and Jace's party vacation on a yacht. Um, I love what they did. I just the existence of multiple universes implies that like there are thousands of universes where this didn't work out and like a victor omnipotent deity kind of victor just took over everything and then found crushing loneliness for all time, you know?
Right. I think that's what they imply. I
Yeah.
think they imply that Victor, after he achieved his communist utopian ideal of everybody having the same mind, realized it sucked,
Yeah.
and went back in time to try to
Encourage
create a
Jace.
version of events. Yeah, create a version of events where he stopped.
Right. And he
Right.
does that by timeline hopping and giving Jace different arcane runes.
Yeah, young Jace, who's dying in the blizzard with his mom, gets saved by this unknown mage who turns out to be Victor from the future.
Yeah.
And he gives him a rune. And then, yeah, in each version, Victor gives him a different rune and hopes that'll be enough to kickstart some chain of events wherein Victor gets stopped. So it's the acceleration rune, is what I've read.
Yeah, and it's entirely important because it gets well. I mean, Echo and Heimerdinger explicitly say, "Hey, look, it's Jace's acceleration rune here. If we like work
Yeah.
on that, like they underline it and point it out, and that's the rune." And I
Hmm.
guess the point is that's what allows Echo to come back, right? That's the important bit there.
Yeah. So Echo reverse engineers Jace's initial rune to do reverse acceleration, which would be travel backwards in
Into
time.
time, right?
Right? And so, yeah, so he's able to create a tiny little anomaly in the alternate multiverse, bring it back with him to the original multiverse. And that clashes with the original anomaly of the acceleration rune. It's like, I don't know, they just clash because they're opposites, right?
Right.
And that's able to create some kind of a weird temporal explosion that knocks Victor. I don't know.
It
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 knocks Victor back to having sense a little bit for
it
a couple minutes.
that's how I read it. It knocked
Yeah.
Victor's transformation back until slightly before he was finished being a god, and like
Yeah.
gave him the ability to like really see and like connect with his friend again.
Yeah.
Um,
And then Jace is able to come at him from an angle of, I've seen what happens if
mhm,
you do this.
right.
Trust me.
Mm,
And there's enough of Victor left that he does trust Jace.
mm,
And it's enough to basically forestall the apocalypse.
right. And in terms of things that are zippy,
Hmm.
despite the fact that they went back and like, no, it's really what it was all about in the beginning. That's why Jace got saved by a mysterious traveling mage.
Hmm.
Um, this feels like it was entirely set up just this season, and
Yeah. I think so too.
uh, like I don't know, it, it's weird that it just feels rushed, right? That
Yeah.
like Victor becoming a god after like nearly dying in an explosion to
Yeah.
suddenly it's been 2 years and now his like communist farm gets blown up, but he's now also able to control everyone and like convert them at will with his little droid puppets. It's it I like, if you're going to go back in time and stop Victor, isn't it possible to go back in time and like stop him when he was still just healing people and letting them pretend to be them, you know? Um, like stop him from becoming the like, all right, I will now consume everyone because like
Yeah.
it still feels like everyone else had their personality. He could just overwrite them if he needed to or wanted to.
Yeah. And it basically feels like you have your personality within lanes.
Mm,
Right? There are boundaries set within. If I assume if you tried to be violent, if you tried to be selfish, if you tried to break the rules of the commune, Victor just won't let you do it.
right.
But as long as you stayed within those bounds, then you could have your personality,
Yeah.
right?
And it's like at some level he was still doing good there, and it's from our perspective, it's not until Jace comes back and like shoots him that he turns evil, you know. So if
Yeah.
it on the one hand, we also don't get to see the universe where it started. Like, where's the universe where Jace wasn't given any runes from a wandering mage?
I think he
Where
dies in the blizzard?
right, but okay. But like, what's the first one? Where does Victor get the idea that this is how you stop this? Right?
Right. Right. Maybe the conversation with Jace when Jace is in the multiverse where everything's blown up.
Mm.
Maybe they have that conversation there, and then maybe that's where Victor's like, I gotta go back and try some
There's
stuff.
a lot of cut conversations that happen off screen.
Yes, a lot of like, ooh, interesting
And,
conversation happened off screen.
and
Got it.
don't get me wrong,
Cool.
there are definitely times where I think that's acceptable. There
Uh,
are a bunch of conversations in Warhammer where it's like, and now Fulgrim is going to attempt to uh, get Ferrus Manus to turn. Are we going to show you that conversation? No, because that would be a wild conversation to have to write Fulgrim actually trying to convince someone to turn against the Emperor. So we'll hand wave that away. But like some of these feel like they could be done because fundamentally, all the writing in the show from people talking to each other is great.
yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
so well done that to not give us some feels like a crime.
Yeah, it happens too often. You can
Yeah.
do it sparingly, but I think too consistently they kind of rely on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a thread on Reddit that I found where people kind of talked about different multiverse options.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's any multiverse where Jace or Victor die
Mm-hmm.
before they reach their discovery of the hex core, then everything's fine,
Right.
right? So Victor killing himself because Jace isn't around to stop him from doing it, everything's fine.
Mm.
Jace committing suicide because he can't get anything his invention to work at all.
Mm.
Same thing. Victor's dead, Jace is dead, everything's fine. Like them working together and succeeding at this thing is what brings about the precipice of the apocalypse.
Right. Which okay. So if Jace or Victor dying is fine, right? And one of the things that I
Yeah.
think we see in Echo's trip is that like hex tech is never invented, and so there's a
Mm.
lot of like conflict that is avoided as well. Like all of the stuff with Silco and Vanda, and Vi might be dead, but Jinx doesn't turn crazy, isn't raised by an evil Silco, or etc. etc. Everything
And
seems
Piltover I mean, Piltover and Jean, however you say it,
Yeah. Zao.
Zahn,
Yeah.
are
Fun.
friends.
Yeah.
Like
They work things out.
the
It,
bridge that
right.
separates them, that is this giant demarcation in the original universe, is just like it doesn't matter. It's just
Right.
one people now,
Right.
which was amazing. Yeah, that was such a good visual expression.
Right. I really like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
also, you have to then recognize that Victor going back and giving Jace a rune, if he just didn't do that and let him die in the snow, everything would have been fine. Arguably
yeah,
much better.
yep, yeah. But maybe he was trying to find a way to save Jace and save the world
And himself? I don't know.
and himself. It's kind of a selfish thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Is he dead at the end? I don't remember.
He and Jace get sucked into some vortex in the galaxy. I don't.
Okay.
Again, they are champions in League of
Right.
Legends,
Right.
so I
They end up
assume
at the
they're alive.
Nexus. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They'll pop out in some in
In a,
Noxian or some other
right.
place in Runeterra, right?
They'll pop out in a 3-lane, very square map, fighting some towers and some mobs that pop out of them.
Yeah, yeah. What wasn't Bessa looking for?
And
Because
Bessa,
remember the Black Rose lady was like, "We know what you're looking for here in Piltover, and we're not going to let you have it." And I was like, "What's that?" And then I don't think we ever figured out what that was.
I assume it was just Hex Tech. Like she just wanted weapons.
Okay.
Right?
So she was looking for a way to defeat Black Rose
Yeah.
in this new amazing Hextech stuff that Piltover's going with.
Right.
Just okay.
Which
So there's
is
not just like some super weapon she's looking for in particular.
right, but like she has the means to like negate magic, but never offers that to like anyone on a scientific level, being like, "Hey, do you want to investigate this rune magic that we have?" And just I don't know, try to expand on that.
Yeah.
Because Hex Tech is
Yeah.
useful, but it just creates like a gun, and like guns are cool, but you already have crossbows, and you already have other guns. You have non-magic guns. Why is a magic gun much better?
Yeah.
Why are magic punching gloves better than just brass knuckles? You know?
Well, I imagine so it's acceleration, right? So it's just faster guns and faster, stronger punching.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
adding acceleration to any kind of a weapon like that just makes it better.
Is all of the magic Arcane Hex Tech? Is it just all of it acceleration? Because that's the rune that they've got. Is that the common thread here?
I think so. Is the Hex Gate just accelerating people to other places?
It's a
in
Mass
Runeterra?
Effect relay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just gets you faster, right? Every application we've seen of Hex Tech just makes stuff faster, and I think it's because it's based on the acceleration rune.
Maybe. I wonder if it's possible to go back and like pick up on that in like season 1. Just be like, hey, all of these weapons, they're all magic fantastic weapons, but they all do the same thing in the same way, or a different thing in the same way.
Hammer and the gloves.
Right.
Is there anything else in season 1?
Kate's gun, I think.
Yep. So Kate's gun. Jinx is Fishbones.
Fishbones.
Her rocket launcher.
Oh yeah.
Is that Hex Tech powered?
I assume so.
I think it is. I
Yeah.
think she picks up the Hex sphere and puts it in
Right.
before she launches it at the council. So yeah. So that's another thing. Whoosh.
Yeah, her
Shooting.
pistol now definitely does. And I guess it's just accelerating something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
So yeah, so it's not a new form of warfare or weaponry. It just makes existing forms better.
Although, I will say, Vi's gloves have rocket thrusters in them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one thing to make something move faster, it's another thing to, I don't know, be rockets. I don't know, it's a little Iron Man glove.
Yeah.
Like, if you can make it move faster, I feel like she should just be like holding on in the inside as they move faster. I don't think it needs a rocket output to visually show that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know. I just feel like that
Sure.
was a little silly, but
Yeah, no, that's fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And
excellent show.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the animation, the voice acting, the
Hmm.
emotion, the music, all of it's great.
So, uh, Giga, who does the anime in a nutshell every season,
Yeah.
he has a line that's like, "How do you make this show even better?" It's just I tried to find like the soundbite for it of just him
Mm.
saying it, and it's "gay girls, isn't it?" Right, and that's all I could think of when like Kate and Vi are on screen together. I'm like, "Gay girls, isn't it?" you know, and I'm like, "Yes, yes, it is."
Not wrong. Although, okay, that's actually a criticism I have.
Oh,
Jinx is like, I'm gonna lock you in jail, Vi. I'm gonna go kill myself now. Bye. And Vi's like, no. And then Caitlyn shows up, and it's like, I could go after my sister, who I'm afraid for her mental health, and she's going to commit suicide. Or sexy times in this jail cell real quick. And it's like, look, Vi, I understand you're horny. I think a lot of people are. But
uh-huh.
like, Jinx, the last thing Jinx said to you was really concerning.
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think the last thing she said it hinted at suicide. It was concerning, but everything Jig says is concerning, right?
Fair. Yeah. She's like, chalk it up. Standard Jinx.
Right, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and also we don't know how long they've been down there, or like Vi was down there before Caitlyn came along. Like it's like okay, if
Oh,
Jinx
she's like,
wanted,
that ship has sailed.
right, she could be dead already.
Oh. Pretty good. All right. So yeah, Arcane definitely recommended. Not perfect, but nothing is. So hey,
Not perfect, but this comes damn close.
yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and my daughter started watching.
Oh,
I was
excellent.
so happy because I was watching season 2
Hmm.
and she heard the Imagine Dragons opening and she came down and she was like, "Why is this Imagine Dragons?" Like derisively, and I was like, "Oh no." Like, "No, but it's good. Trust me." She like walked away and I was so sad. And then she spent the week at her mom's and she came back and she was like, "I watched all of season 1." And I was like, "Yes. Let's go."
Let's go.
Yeah, I guess she'd watched some YouTube short that kind of gave her some negative impressions of the show.
Oh, really?
She thought it was dumb,
Mm.
but then she gave it a shot, and so we ended up watching the last 3 episodes together, which was nice. So
Excellent, excellent.
yeah, it was nice to have someone to react to things with in the house. So
Hmm. Hmm.
nice job, Arcane. And one
Cool.
of my sisters is she's been watching season 1,
Hmm.
rewatching season 1 because she started season 2 and she's like, I don't remember who anyone is. So she watched season 1 and now, oh well, she's actually at season 2 now because she just texts me random stuff like Vander question mark exclamation mark exclamation point and stuff like, oh, Jinx is a fun mom. So she's just making her way through the show now and that's pretty fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Echo's like, hey, give me a chance to talk about a friend, someone who could have been like an old friend, right?
Mm.
And then when they show up on her hot airship she has, she also has like cut and colored and dyed her hair, right? Like
Right.
you took and like redesigned her outfit and has like new body paint on and stuff. I'm like, you took a lot of unnecessary time when you could have been
Yeah,
like
but
fighting the
you know
war.
what takes longer?
What?
Rebraiding that hair. That would have taken like a day and a half. So she's like, you know what's faster? Chop,
Well,
body paint, new style, let's go.
I suppose I did not consider that.
Yeah, because that's my daughter was constantly like, how long is her hair when it's undone? Because she knows how much braiding shortens up your hair.
Hmm.
And I was like, it's gotta be twice as long as she is.
Yes, right.
Yeah, and it was. That was pretty interesting. They had her take it out at any point because, yeah, rebraiding that would take forever. Uh,
Uh,
Anywho's. Oh, and then a note that somebody said on her hot air balloon contraption, she had the X and the O that Isha had on her helmet when
oh,
she ran
really?
into Jinx. It's this little like homage to Isha. Oh man, this show has
Oh.
so many details. Oh, There's another thing that I posted in the Discord server that somebody posted on Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
where when Echo first shows up in the multiverse and he sees Jinx,
Mm.
there's this point where they're both reflected in this surface, and in the reflection, it's Jinx,
Oh, okay.
right? He's seeing her as the
Jinx, not
demon
powder.
that Jinx is,
Right.
but then it's actually Powder in the real world. That's just little stuff that you can totally miss that they're throwing in here all over the place. I mean,
Mm.
they are so good at what they do. And I know it's expensive, but man, we need more of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will.
Oh yeah, we'll have to.
I don't know. Do, does Riot consider this a good investment? They can't, right? Like, there's no way that $250 million is going to give them enough of a return on people deciding to play League of Legends. Like, I don't know if there's anyone who watched Arcane and was like, I want to play this video game and then spend any money on it. You know what I mean? I mean, okay,
Yeah.
some people, but not nearly enough to recoup $250 million.
So, I don't know what um, Netflix pays out at.
Right. Oh, that's true. They're recouping some of the cost Netflix paying for the right to distribute.
Well,
Certainly.
I don't even know about that. It's like, I don't know how Netflix's business model pays people who make Netflix original stuff, because this is Netflix original. In theory, Riot goes, here's $250 million, make us 2 seasons, and then Netflix pays them money back for any people who sign up, and or at least based on what people watch. Like, I know YouTube Premium, in theory, when it was first came out, I don't know if it still works like this, but it was basically like, okay, what we do is we take your $5.99 subscription and divvy that along everyone you watched, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so does Netflix kind of work the same with the way people's subs work?
I think so. I don't see why not.
I don't know either. So they'll make
Maybe it's based on. I bet it's based on view too, right?
it could be,
On
but
our platform, if we're tracking how many views and how much watch time. It's probably
yeah,
based on that too.
you could do views, but like I think that's a probably a bad idea for Netflix, just because people could rewatch things very easily, and it's like, okay, is 2 views of a 5 minute show worth the same as 2 views on a Arcane 40 minute episode?
But like I said, watch time too, right? You
Watch
factor
time,
that in. Yeah.
sure. It could be a ton of things,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think provided that's a fair system, I think they'll make their money back from Netflix. I think they
I
would.
could see it. It's wildly popular on Netflix.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why.
you know how they promote stuff on Netflix? Like, here's a thing, it's coming back, and
Hmm.
this is really popular with, yeah, on Netflix. They're like, this is Arcane. This is like the highest rated thing we have ever put on our platform. Holy crap.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure they're pretty happy with the results they're getting off of it. People signing up for Netflix just to watch Arcane season 2 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me have a quick look at this real
Mm.
quick, which was okay. So I don't know if this helps or hurts my argument, but the other way in which I would say that Riot advertises League of Legends is the same way Blizzard did with StarCraft, which is paying for tournaments, right? They host a
Yeah.
professional esports tournament, and the prize money basically comes out of their marketing budget.
Mm-hmm.
The World Championship for League of Legends this year was $2.2 million. That was
Not
the prize
bad.
pool. That was the prize pool for the World
Big
Championship.
chunk.
So I
Yeah.
assume that's just one tournament, with the winning team getting nearly $500,000 in a
Team
lot.
of 5 splitting it, right?
Yeah, and assuming
Which
that doesn't like any of that
sucks.
go to the team or whatever, which I
Yeah.
mean it's still $80,000 each, right? It's not bad, and assuming
Yeah.
you're a good team, you could win multiple tournaments in a year. This is just one that I'm looking at. Is
Sure,
that
sure,
a
sure.
better investment? Is like, do people really sign up and be like, well, I'm gonna go play League of Legends because the team I like won? I guess it definitely appeals more to people who play the game.
Yeah,
because
I think it's way better advertising for people you want to play the game because you're actually watching people play the game.
right, but you're also advertising specifically to people who potentially already play the game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
those people
people
are,
drop off all the time. This could drag people back, absolutely.
it could. I don't know. I wonder if that's
Mm.
like a captured audience already. Oh, you know, like.
Yeah. I mean, it's free to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about skins and battle passes and all that stuff.
Yeah. Getting people interested in skins, I think the best way to do that is through narrative.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be right.
Because, like,
I'd love to talk to somebody who works for Riot
oh,
in
yeah.
their marketing department and just be like, I know you're tracking all this stuff. Like, what kind of return are we getting here on these things?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Love to pick their brain.
Marketing at riotgames.com.
Go on, send them an email. Uh,
All right, enough Arcane. Good though, so good.
so
Best
good.
thing Arcane. Quite possibly.
Quite possibly.
Again, it entertains me to no end to think of how this was dumped on Netflix and nobody watched it except for League of Legends fans who were like, "We'll give this a try," and then they were like, "This is great," and everybody said, "Shut up! You were League of Legends fans. We don't trust you," and that's how this thing got started. Like, poor League of Legends fans being like, just please, everyone, trust us. We
trust
know
us.
everyone hates us, but this one time.
Yeah.
And then it worked. So
yeah.
hooray. Good job, guys.
There,
It's one good thing that LoL fans have done.
there's a podcast called the Geek Enders podcast with Jesse Cox and Press Start to Continue Dodger from
Yeah.
the two hosts from the Co-optional podcast from way back in the day. They have a mutual friend called Krendor, who is a huge League of Legends player. Absolutely huge League of Legends player. Refuses to watch the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he assumed, like, I only saw like a couple of bits of it, but basically his point was like they'll make it, to make people want to play the game, and he doesn't like that because he hates story in the game. He doesn't read like the characters or anything, the profiles or any of the lore or anything like that. He's just like, no, I just want to play League. Like, I don't want to care about these characters. I just want to play. I just want to play League. I don't want to like. They'll have made it for people. Either they'll like both situations are bad. They'll make it for people who haven't played League, so they go play League, but they'll want to just talk about the show. Or they'll make it for people who play League, and that's dumb.
Fair. I guess I get that.
Yeah.
I was thinking too, I bet some League of Legends fans don't watch it because they change things. Right?
Yeah, definitely possible.
I have seen some comments on Reddit from people who do play the game and are like, oh, they changed a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, apparently, Vander becoming some kind of werewolf thing is in League.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just like a furry werewolf dude monster thing.
He's not like
Not
a
like
chem
this weird
junkie.
hex. Yeah. Not chem junk, like a hex robot kind of a thing. And they're like, that's weird. I don't like that.
Right.
But again, if you don't have the preconceived ideals, you don't care. This is true for every IP, right? Every IP that's adapted somewhere else there's an audience that watches it that doesn't know the original IP and doesn't care that you change things.
Right.
Whereas the original fans are pissed off if you change things.
Mm-hmm.
See Halo, for example.
Oh, yeah. Halo's cinematic contributions are only good.
Nothing bad at all.
Nope. They don't have
I have seen some comments from people who don't know anything about Halo and think the show is fine. So that's the difference,
not.
right? It's not. No.
It's not. None of the Halo TV shows are fine.
Tragically.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't be that hard to do, but apparently it is.
Nope, super is. It's very difficult. Oof. Yep.
All right. Warhammer time?
Warhammer. Oh, did you want to note that the StarCraft 2 PTR has gone live as a full patch?
Yes, I did want to note that.
Uh-huh. Do you need a link?
I'll grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw you post it.
Mm-hmm.
And first I thought it was just another update,
To the PTR.
but it was not an update.
Nope.
And it is out. Yeah.
Because I saw you playing some 3v3s yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I'm wondering
Yeah.
if he's enjoying the new patch.
So I don't really notice a lot with it. What I'm pissed off is that the 3v3 maps are all huge now.
Oh, all
All
over?
of them are ginormous. There are no small ones left.
Oh, okay.
They took all the small ones away.
Okay.
I'm so mad. Anyway, that's nobody cares about that. Next.
You haven't noticed hatcheries being cheaper and queens being more expensive?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
Not even close.
You didn't notice that the Ultralisk is big now?
I mean, so they never changed. Wait, did that make it into the release?
Yeah. Model size reverted to patch 5.0.1. It says it's
Oh.
increased. Apparently Ultras are big now.
I didn't notice, man. Ultras are ultras as far as I'm concerned. They're great.
Fair enough.
I even fought against some Cyclones and didn't notice any differences. Wait, didn't they revert the Cyclone?
Cyclone
All very confusing.
reverted to patch 0.11. Yeah.
Right. When they say that, I
What
don't
does
know
that mean?
means.
No,
Yeah.
nobody knows what that means.
So, I don't know, whatever. So bottom line here is for shield, they brought the shield batteries back.
Mm-hmm. Well, the shield battery doesn't. You don't have
overcharge
charge.
is still gone.
Overcharge is gone. Yeah.
Right. But what they did was range for shield batteries starting with full energy increased from 10 to 12. Maximum distance to the closest nexus.
What?
Right? They said the increased range allows Protoss players to be more flexible when placing shield batteries while defending their base and expanding to new locations without boosting the offensive capabilities of shield batteries. So something about this indicates that they're
okay.
better on defense and worse on offense.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a thing that shield batteries do, which is they spawn with half energy if they're not near a nexus. So offensive shield batteries for like proxy void rays are worse. What they've done is they've made that range slightly bigger, so that you can still put them a little bit more forward from your like natural and still get that boost, because they'll still recognize that as being defensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So shield, yep. Shield battery overcharge is gone, and so we get energy recharge, which recharges 100 energy to any unit or structure within 12 range of a nexus.
Right.
So we'll be able to like spawn an oracle and immediately zap it with full of energy. Or
Right.
spawn High Templar and zap it full of storm energy. Well, only one. I think it's got a 60-second cooldown on it. Is that... I wonder if that's per nexus, like each nexus can do this individually, or if it's a global cooldown like Recall.
Right. Probably. Anywho, Mothership, big again. Ultralisk, big again. Ultralisk, the original idea was to minimize cases where it got stuck behind other allied units, in which an issue is now resolved with a push priority change, which I was okay with.
Orbital command, extra supplies. The target depot is max health is set to 500, so it heals them. That's cool. I think the most important change on this list might be the ghost supply cross from 2 to 3. So ghost slightly nerfed. Big fan.
Yeah, for sure. That is good. I don't know if it's enough, but I guess we'll find out, huh?
Yeah. Oh, we now know the name of the Hydralisk's dash spell ability. Nanomuscular Swell.
Sure, guys. Whatever.
Uh, it's 164 seconds requires Hive.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Trash.
imagine. I mean, Laughing Games and I cast a tournament on the PTR last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Hydralisks were made. No dashing was seen. So I don't think Zerg players care about it.
I don't
At
think
least
so.
Shin didn't, and Shin's been playing pretty well.
Yeah. So while this patch is definitely of note and might do some things, I think I've seen Pig talk about something way more interesting for potential change to StarCraft, which was
Starting workers, yeah.
starting workers. There's been some talk about maybe trying to scale that back to make the early game not as quick and open up into more build varieties. With either
Yeah.
going back to 6, or I've seen him, he made a mod or had a mod made with 9 worker starts.
Oh, so kind of a happy medium then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I mean, I watched some games, and it was weird to look at like a 15-minute game and be like, wow, they're not mining out the map.
Right. Yeah, the old times. I mean, that's what StarCraft was for good 4 years after it came out. 6 years. Was, yeah, it was slower opens. Cheese was more effective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like the fast openings
Mm-hmm.
because I just think way too many times just nothing is going on with the 6 worker start for the first 5 or 6, 7 minutes.
Mm.
Whereas with the higher worker count, it's just like, okay, so now we're getting a hive at 7 minutes, and all right, let's go.
Right, right. Which
Yeah,
9 might be a happy medium then. Yeah.
yeah, maybe. I'd
Yeah.
be willing to check it out for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Give it a try, see what we get out of it, especially at the pro level.
For sure.
Kind of slow it down a little bit, but not so much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I,
pigs involved on the balance council, I imagine. So
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
All right,
Let's start.
Mortis.
Mortis by John French.
Yeah.
Whew, this book.
So yeah. So I know what he said in the afterword.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that he thought he was done with the siege of with the
Siege of
Horus
Terra.
Heresy
Oh, okay.
and the siege of Terra
Mm-hmm.
because he did Solar War, right? Which was
Right.
like a huge undertaking, and he was like burned out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they invited him to come back, and he's like, okay. So again, it was super hard because of all of the just different characters and the continuity of everything, and you had to like fact check and cross check and everything, and have to make sure everything that you're talking about is actually on the timeline before he said even before you wrote a single word of your book.
Mm.
So it's just a super super huge undertaking, and he was like, but we're all a team here, and everything went well. So
Yeah, that's good.
that was good. Yeah. So yeah, John French, good stuff. Yeah.
So, broadly speaking, this is about Titan Wars on Terra.
Yeah. I mean, additionally, what Perpetuals are doing on Terra,
That's true. That is, yeah.
and what a random White Scar is doing on Terra,
And the Trooper Katsuhira, yeah.
and what Corswain is doing on Terra.
That's true. Yeah, I
There's
mean,
a lot of stuff going on here, and what Cinderman and Keeler are doing on Terra.
with
There's a lot of
Basilisk.
stuff going on in this book. It's not just about
It
the
is
freaking
yeah.
Titans.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot happening. Where do we start picking apart this book?
Right? Too much. It is way too much. I guess the thing that really interests me the most is the concept that all had we'll call it a falling out with the Emperor
Oh yeah.
at one point in the far, far, far flung past,
So
right?
you've finished the book. You can look at my meme that I sent you.
Oh, that's true. I can now. Hooray. If I had a nickel for every time my War Master tried to kill me, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened twice. Right. So
Uh,
there's this whole like history rhymes thing. All has this thing where he's like, if you're around long enough, you start seeing kind of the same things happen and the
mm-hmm.
same patterns unfold over centuries and millennia.
Right. Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, they just really hammer home that all has really been around since the freaking beginning of time,
Right.
as far as anyone's concerned. They call him the first. I think this is the first time he's referred to that. I don't
Uh,
know if John calls him that or somebody calls him that, but calls him you were the first perpetual, I think.
uh, why does it? I'll fix it later.
Do you you
Um,
not think so?
but I'm trying to recall. It, I don't know if he's talking about he's the first perpetual or if he's the first one who signed on with the emperor.
Hmm. Okay.
Like he's the first one who was there in his club of perpetuals, you know?
Right. It really. Yeah. I don't know, man. Who's the oldest perpetual? Yeah. I mean, according to the Googles, which again, how reliable is that? Says that he
Right.
is the oldest perpetual in 40k
He
lore.
certainly could be. Like I'd believe it.
Yeah.
Like we're treated to a lot of scenes where he's having flashbacks and visions to the ship of Theseus and
To a
like
ton of Greek mythology. Yeah.
yeah,
To the lair of the Minotaur.
right.
Right. So it says here he was born around 15,000 BC in the city of Nineveh. So like Old Testament shit, man. Like we are going way far back here. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And then yeah, just the whole concept that he has this ideological falling out with the emperor, where the emperor is on this, it's the unity conquest, right? Trying to basically unify the earth under his rule. And they run across this tower of sorcerers who have this language, Anuncia,
Yeah.
that is super powerful. It's like the first true pure language of humanity, and it's magical and strong. And if you use it, it causes all this damage to the person who uses it often, but also to the people that you're using it on, right? And so the idea was to go there and just shut it down, to
Right.
kill everyone, make sure nobody ever used this again. It's too powerful. And the emperor is like, but also, what
No.
if?
What if?
What if we used it for good? And all's like,
Uh,
too strong, too powerful. I don't like this idea at all. And the emperor's
right.
like, well, I'm your boss, so we're doing it
Well,
anyway.
that's the interesting thing. You said he would like that was on the emperor's path to unity, but
Uh
that
huh.
was ancient history. That wasn't the unification was just pre-crusade. That was back when it was still called Earth.
It's all unification. Are you kidding? May not be officially the unification wars, but that's all the emperor was doing since he got going, right?
I mean, raises a lot of questions of why the emperor didn't unify us today instead of 30,000 years from now.
It took a long time. I don't know, man.
I feel like there are definitely been points where he's been in control of a lot,
Yeah.
and I feel like he was more in the shadows back then, um, especially after like humanity went to the stars, and he just like I can't do this, like I don't have a means yet. And back then he was
Right.
still gathering stuff. Like yes, for the emperor, it was still the emperor working his plan, which means unity for everyone, whether or not you like it or not.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
so
And
for him, yeah, but like,
again, that's the ideology is these wizards in this tower are a threat and they weren't willing, they weren't willing to bend the knee. They weren't going to work with the emperor, and so they had to be destroyed.
yeah, or even they had the
Anyway,
power to resist.
right at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
I do like that it shows us that all stabs the emperor right through the chest, and then it's like the end. So you're like, okay, if we didn't know the emperor was fine today, we could have some implications about that scene. But because we know he's okay, what happened? Did it hurt him at all? Was he at the point of just being so powerful that it didn't matter? Did it
Possibly.
almost kill him?
I mean, here's the thing: if he's immortal, right,
Yeah.
and he's left alive as like a cripple, it doesn't matter. Like he waits 20,000 years. You hit the dark age of technology. He heals himself with super magic technology, right?
Right. Is
So
that what happened?
no idea.
We don't know.
It's the
Did it
Emperor.
all stick around? Was he like, dab? And then he's like, let's see if this works. Did he leave? Did
I
the
mean,
other soldiers react? Like, they just had no interest in giving us any of this stuff, and it kind of bugs me.
yeah, but we're also being shown, well, told that from Old's perspective, and he doesn't like to dwell on
Mm.
that,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like
that's true.
these are painful memories for the man. You cut him some
I
slack.
know. Well, he had to dwell on some of it anyway, even though he didn't want to. So he
He
could have dwelled on some more.
he also definitely says like he doesn't remember so good anymore. It's like, is he remembering the story he told himself when like trying to forget? So there's a little bit of like an unreliable narrator there, just a little.
That's true. I mean, everyone's an unreliable narrator of their own story.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So the Emperor got
Yeah, I don't know.
stabbed.
So there's that whole thing. I kind of feel bad for All's little motley crew of dudes from Calf that he's been dragging around forever now.
Shuffle tap, shuffle tap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're getting chased by something from the warp. And
Uh
again, what it is doesn't matter.
huh. I mean, I know what it is because I've read the
Yeah,
next couple books. So
fair. Oh, we do get there.
yeah.
Okay, so it does matter. Wonderful.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah. I like the moment though where they're on Terra.
Mhm.
They're in current times. They've reached John Grammaticus. Like that's what they've been trying to do this whole freaking time.
Mhm.
And then he's all's like, "Look, you don't have to follow me anymore.
Mm.
Like you're not exactly safe.
Mhm.
You're probably as safe as you're ever going to be at this point.
Right.
We've reached the end of the quest. Thank you all for coming with me and helping me. But like, if you stay with me, it's going to be dangerous, right?"
Mhm.
And then they're like, "Yeah, but we don't know what else to do." Right?
Well,
There's a little bit of that going on, but a little bit of choice
there's
there
a
that they
little bit
want to
of
stick around with all.
loyalty to all, and like he definitely has some thoughts of like, you know, look how loyal they are to a man they don't really know, and
Yeah.
that's weighing on him a bit. You know.
Yeah, because he's like, you know how many crews I've had in my time and how many platoons and how many soldiers under my command
Mhm.
and they all died every single time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He knows how this goes. He knows how this ends.
Yeah. 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 So
Yeah.
while we're talking about all, what do you think of Acte being here? She is a
I'm not quite
character
sure what to make of her. Uh-huh.
that we've read in other books. She was in Slaves to Darkness.
Sure.
She did used to go by a different name.
She was part of the Cabal.
No,
She wasn't?
no.
Why does Grammaticus keep saying that she's working with the Cabal?
No, he mentions Alfarius was like, I think that his comment about like is Alfarius because the
Oh,
Alpha Legion was with the Cabal.
he was directing his comments to Alfarius.
Yeah.
Okay. John kind of gets nonsensical a lot in that part of the book. He just starts like yelling things.
People, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Alfarius. Oh.
Because, yeah, Alfarius is there. Is he really Alfarius?
The most eye-rolling thing in all of Warhammer is anytime an Alpha Legion person shows up and he goes, "I'm
I'm
Alfarius," and I go, "I roll every time."
Sure you are, buddy.
Sure, man.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
Yeah.
you. Okay, so Acte, so I'm going to give you the rundown since you don't remember who that is.
Okay.
In the first Heretic, she goes by Serene Valentin, and she is the sole survivor of Monarchia who gets blinded, who Erebus kills and then brings back to control Argyle Town and
That's her?
gets it a bit wrong, and she becomes a Perpetual.
But she's not a psyker. Is she a psyker now?
She's a Psycho now. She spent a bunch of time like in the warp doing warpy things.
Yeah, of course.
She was also there to like try and find Fulgrim, I believe, at one point with
Oh.
um Who did they send to go and find Fulgrim? I don't remember.
Me neither. It was a Primarch.
It wouldn't have been Perturabo, was it?
No.
Because like Perturabo like ate a bit of Fulgrim, and you wouldn't send him.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
I don't know, but Serena Valentin was there. She's like a psycho now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like
Okay, so that's her.
she's pretty chaos worshipy at this point. That's what Grammaticus is yelling about. Like the primordial annihilators got her, you know.
Yeah.
So she's pretty warpy. That's who that is.
She's pretty warpy, but she's pretty insistent that she wants, like, things to persist. She doesn't want everything to be annihilated.
Right.
Yeah.
She worships the chaos gods and wants humanity to ascend, but believes that Horus isn't the way to do that. So maybe the Alpha Legion shared the Cabal's acuity, but they're also pretty insistent the Cabal's all dead. So
Yeah, which I didn't believe. I didn't believe that claim at all. If the Cabal's dead, I'm like, sure.
some of them are dead, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Just maybe to put, like, Grammaticus at ease, right? 'Cause
he
doesn't
yeah.
like those guys, right?
Like, no, I swear, we killed them all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they're all teamed up at this point.
Yep. We get, So, okay, the group has 2 Space Marines now. There's Alfarius and Litu.
And the unaffiliated Space Marine.
Right.
Yeah.
Who... What a guy.
He's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
They'd all be dead without him at this point.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just, like, running through what's the state of things in my head.
I mean, we might as well talk about the garden and
Paradise, yeah.
As long as we're here, right?
Which is basically what the Emperor's children have been up to after the Saturnine Gambit that failed.
After they got sick of the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. John French is like, there was this thing. What was it? There was this piece of lore that the Emperor's children got tired of the battles and just started fucking about with the poor people on Terra.
Yeah.
But the idea had never been expanded or fleshed out at all.
Uh-huh.
So they're like, go for it, John. And he's like, okay.
I recently read a book from an Emperor's Children perspective. And basically what that boiled down to was they took a bunch of slaves, like, right off the bat. And that apparently served them really well somehow, having all of these, like, really useful menials to beat and torture and run their ships, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I guess, this is as good a plan as any, which is to recreate the Hanging Gardens of Babylon to entice people to come, embed them in trees, and then steal all their secrets. Is that a broadly accurate summation of what they're doing?
I guess. Sure.
What secrets you're getting off the common scum of Terra, I don't know. But I mean, it was scary to think about being there, so I guess it worked.
Right. Totally scary. Totally body horror, classic Emperor's Children stuff, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. Emperor's Children doing weird, depraved stuff for weird magic reasons. Great. That's what they do.
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time the Emperor's Children did something weird and depraved, I'd be a billionaire.
Yeah. Like, ever since they fell to Slanesh, like, that's just been what they do. They don't really leave that path in any way.
Oh, not even remotely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. So speaking of people leaving the battle, Perturabo gets whiny that Horus is like, yeah, we'd rather have Mortarian operate from this spaceport because we know the next book has to happen, and Jagatai Khan said he'd take it back, and we know Jagatai fights Mortarian and not you, so you can't be here.
Got meta written out of the narrative. Yeah.
But at the same time, it is very on brand for Perturabo to see that as a slight, that he's like, look, we need you to just change your operating base, and he's like, nobody's listening to my orders. I'm getting pushed aside for beasts and demons and wizards. I'm fucking out of here, you know.
Yep.
So,
It's fantastic. Yeah, I like too when it's like the emissary of Horus is like, you'll be hunted. Like you can't just leave.
right.
And Perturabo pauses and he goes, "So be it." I'm like, "Yeah, get him, Perturabo.
You stand up
I'm
to
rooting
him.
for you now."
You stand up to Big Brother Horus.
Yeah, that was great. It's such a good moment. Like he sucks in his own ways, absolutely.
Really? Right.
But like he's better than I don't know, like Mortarion or like Fulgrim.
Oh,
For
easily.
heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily. Sort of. Yeah, but I guess they do also capitalize on that, being like, and that's the moment the Corswain and the Dark Angel show up, and that's how they're able to get on Terra, because like
Because
half the
Perturabo's not paying attention anymore.
half the trader forces are like trying to chase down Perturabo's fleet.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, you know what? Good
I'm
on
down.
him. Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so the Corswain thing. So he shows up in the solar system. He anticipates that that the line will be there, and he's not. So he's like, "Well, shit. I need to light the Astronomicon so that he can find his way here."
yeah.
So he sneaks through the entire solar system and gets to Terra, and sneaks through all the heretical forces, and sneaks down to the Astronomicon. And they don't really give us any of this. He just shows up.
I
And
feel
they're
like
like, he's got stealthy things and technology on his ship. What?
I feel like they're pretty clear that they're not using his ship; they're using the Emperor's ship, which
That's true.
is described as being very autonomous. It sounds like. So not a lot of like people on there like inspecting the definitely not AI powered ship he has. But then they basically are able to cloak in very briefly, and then just drop pot assault straight to the mountain is what it sounds like.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of sneaking, but it's not like the Dark Angels are sneaky and Watch Us Sneak were so sneaky. I
No,
mean,
they're not.
all of the traders that are embedded in his companies, they're sneaky.
That's true.
Because you got to remember, these are all of the reinforcements that were just like chilling on Caliban, that the line never went back for. You know.
That he just totally abandoned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that they set up the betrayal, right? And then it turns out that the guy who's ready to betray the Corswain like gets extra betrayed,
Right.
gets double betrayed, and it's like, oh no. That was a pretty fun moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they do the thing where it's like, it's you. You're supposed to be back on the home world. What are you doing here? And they're not going to tell us who it is.
I mean,
I'm assuming it's Zahariel because he's the only one that I care about.
yeah, it's Zahariel as
Yeah.
Cypher. Yeah.
Yeah, the new Cypher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not sure there's anybody left on Caliban that the reader would care about.
I think Luther's technically still hanging out there.
Oh, right, Luther's alive.
Yeah.
And it could have been Luther. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Zahariel's maybe better.
Yeah, I think Zahariel's better.
Yeah. Yeah, so the double betrayal was
Double betrayal.
pretty much the most interesting part of that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So wait, so is the Astronomicon lit then?
I don't believe it is. Not at the minute.
Okay.
Which is gonna make reinforcements finding it pretty tricky. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this moment where Corswain calls Dorn. He's like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Holy smokes, it's Corswain. He's the Lion's right-hand man. Clearly, the Lion is here." And then he's like, "Nope, actually not at all. And I don't know if he's coming at all." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, they got our hopes right up there, sir."
We came by ourselves, Lord, and they're like, oh shit.
It's like, we have 10,000 troopers, and he's like, "That is not enough."
It's it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Still not enough.
Still not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phew, what else is happening? What's his name? Basilio 4 and Andromeda 17. And
Yeah.
Ooh, what's the new lady's name? Who's working for what is basically going to become the commissars, the Auto Perfectus or something? Uh,
Yeah, the one who sneaks into his cell at the end.
no, that's Andromeda 17. I'm talking about the cop who's like, I need to go and talk to uh
Oh,
Euphrates.
Mahera something.
Yeah.
Maris. Something along those lines. Where is the
Helic
list of
Mauer?
Mauer.
The
That's it.
Boathok, which is a
Yeah.
title I've never heard of.
Nope.
Boathok was a civil military rank of the Carthaginian Empire. Cool. Okay.
Sure, that's
Third
her.
pretty cool.
Yep.
Nice.
Neat.
Yeah, so basically she's going around and finding people are going crazy almost overnight, and it's the warp doing funny things, and like, how do we stop it? And they're like, okay, well, what about faith?
And anybody who knows anything about what's been going on is like,
Uh,
bad idea.
bad idea. Bad idea. No, thank you.
Faith makes it worse, actually.
Yeah, but what if we got it right this time?
Yeah, right.
What if we went and had a chat with Euphrates Healer, maybe see if we could bust her out of prison, and you know, spread the word.
Turn her into some kind of a religious icon and give people hope and I don't know, man. So like here's the thing. A lot of soldiers on the front line are like the Emperor protects.
Dex.
Like
Yeah.
they've got this whole thing they say when they're faced with all the horrors of what's coming at them from the heretical space marines and everything. And it seems to kind of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is it placebo effect? Is it actually working? Is it actually, again, the faith we've been dealing with like Euphrates? Or is it something else?
I mean,
Because I don't know that we're actually seeing any outbreaks of the warp amongst these soldiers who are just on the front lines and everything sucks.
right.
And there are, yeah, they have faith in the Emperor, but it never seems to turn into these problems that we've been seeing consistently, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It is tricky because like the first guy that we meet, the guy who like butchers his entire family and has like
Yeah.
what is it, warp bullets or something. Um, it was like a day before that he was the guy at the caboose of a retreating tank line, and it's like he was
Yeah.
there at the back, basically on the front line, saved 3 dozen men and half as many tanks. You know, any other time he'd be up on like being a war hero, and here he's given a day of leave. He goes home and snaps.
Right.
And so it's like, is it the Emperor who's doing something specifically for the people on the front line? Or is it that the warp is only concentrating its acts of horror on people who aren't on the front line? Because people on the front line are, um, you know, probably going to die to a space marine in 20 minutes. Although, when they're talking about the people who very briefly get introduced to be like, yeah, at first I was happy. I got a posting at the on top of the wall guns. I'm so far away from the front line. This is great. Oh, what's that? I'm in a vision, and it's my wife telling me to come down into like the vineyard where we used to live. Sure, I'll just hop down this little fence and is, taking a plummet
Right.
off like a kilometer high wall. So, are they just like inside enough that the Emperor doesn't bother protecting them, or is it because the warp is directing itself at the people that it's other forces aren't likely to eat in the next 20 minutes? I don't know.
I don't know.
And
It's the warp. There's no
it's
logic with the warp.
it's the warp and faith. You can't answer either of those two questions, otherwise you break a lot of just like how Warhammer works. And
Exactly.
yeah,
So
so
it is what it is.
it is
That's
what it
fine.
is, and it's fine. It's fun. Andromeda 17 ends up going back to Basilio 4, and we get a lot of really a good like talking between them, where she's like trying to like kill him, and he's like, "Oh, you got your people consider me a gene demon for what I did," and like
Yeah.
they're breeding instinctual hate into themselves
Yeah.
to like kill him, except for her apparently, because she sets him free because randomness or something is like a viable way to resolve conflicts.
What?
She's like, oh, we want to let Mother Nature have a go at it, so we'll just introduce a bunch of random vectors and hope it all works out for the best.
So releasing our mortal enemy as a random vector.
Or at least releasing a guy who, in theory, has a plan to kill every Astartes and Primarch ever.
Right.
Not a terrible plan.
I mean, that will cause chaos. I don't know if it's necessarily random, but maybe
It
they're
would,
the same thing sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's interesting. They would make the
Yeah.
worst buddy cop duo, I think.
Probably. Probably. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that, but geneticist guy,
Uh-huh.
like he's discovered you can chip pieces of the wall of his prison
Uh-huh.
off, and they're incredibly powerful, like
Uh-huh.
magic things.
So it's Blackstone.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, right, which we know about.
yeah, we know about. It's
Yeah.
incredibly useful for psychic dampening, but also if you modulate it and reverse the polarity, psychic amplification.
Sure. Right. So how is he gonna hurt? What's her face with it?
Stabber.
I just wanted to. He seems supremely confident he can pull this off.
Yeah, because everyone looks at him and thinks he's like a frail old man.
Yeah, but he's a frail old.
He's a frail old 5,000-year-old genetic wizard, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't think he could have genetically altered himself to look frail, but really be like super strong?
But that's what I like. She would take him seriously, right? Because, by the way, she does. I just feel like he should have been like, all right, I am fucked. I'm going to try this one last ditch effort to get free of this.
Yeah,
But instead he's like, in complete control of the situation. I'll just get 2 steps close and I'll stab her. She'll die and I'll be good. Like, that's not the attitude he should have had. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, he didn't take her seriously, not she didn't take him seriously.
That is true. That is true. That's what I'm complaining about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
he should be smarter than that. That's all.
He's definitely pulled one over on the Selenar before, you know? He's got history
Yes,
there.
a big one.
Yeah.
A big one. To the point that they embedded the need to murder him in every one of the remaining people. Yeah.
Right.
Which is very cool. I like it. I like that his whole philosophy is just that, like, we're programmed to do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially these people. But, like, everyone else. You're not special.
Yeah. It's like you do the things you do because of whatever reason the lizard version of human DNA 60,000 years ago was slithering across a rock for, and that just kind of gets hard-coded, and that's why going for the easiest food is why you order Uber Eats 6 nights a week, you know?
Yep. And honestly, there's something in there for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anywho. Yeah, so that's some interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Keeler, there's this plan to, like, use Keeler as a religious icon, but to get released from the prison, she has to renounce her religious beliefs first.
Uh-huh.
The hell is this plan? I don't understand it.
Right. It's to... I don't know. I feel like this is probably the weakest part of the book, where it's like, okay, we need Keeler to get out of the prison. How do we do that? It's like, okay, well, Andromeda 17 is going to bust out Basilius Foe.
Yeah.
We won't have her do the same thing to Keeler for random variants. We'll have her renounce her faith and then use faith as a weapon against the enemy. I don't know. I think this is a little weak.
I have nothing for that. Nothing at all.
Especially because they're also like, you know who we should talk to? We should go and talk to Kirill Cinnamon, a man who's also agreed to not spread his faith and get him on board to spread faith.
Right.
Although, here's the thing. I'm going to say, with the perspective of knowing that Kirill Cinnamon is an Inquisitor in all but name at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like the Inquisition has not been set up, but he has an eye sigil which allows him to go around and interrogate in all access pass basically. And
Yes.
Inquisitors, their apprentice before they're called Inquisitors are called interrogators, right? And like
Right.
knowing that, it is very Inquisitor to be like, you know what, that super dangerous plan to try some experimental faith bullshit. That's a very Inquisitor move, right? I have unlimited authority, and I'm gonna put it to use.
Fair. Fair. Fair.
So within that context, I don't hate it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, and that's just right perspective I don't have. So yeah, that's good. It's good to know. Yeah. So there's this whole like Mission Impossible. We got to get Keeler out of the prison and to where she needs to be on the wall. But like there are forces that are going to try to stop her from both the heretical side and from the imperial side.
Right.
So then a freaking Stormbird shows up, and Maur's like, "So yeah, this is a little bit worse than I thought it was gonna be."
Right. They have the ability to
Somebody's flying a Stormbird within the imperial
palace.
like
Yeah.
city. Yeah,
Palace Sanctum or whatever it's called. Yeah.
right. So somebody with serious strings to pull is able to do that. And then Cinderman gets separated from Keeler. Keeler probably made it out. Who knows? I sure don't.
She made it out.
I assume it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that they still drive cars in the year 30,000 AD is like, huh.
No,
Some stuff stays the same.
cars are good tech.
Cars are good tech. Guns are good tech. Some stuff just kind of sticks around.
They definitely have flying cars, right? But
Yeah.
it turns out a lot of people can just get around in regular cars, you know? Like, that's still a very useful mode of transportation.
True, true.
Yep. Yep.
True, true.
Okay, so we are rapidly going slightly over time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on with the Titans and Mars being like, please, we want you to walk. And they're all like, yeah, but you want us to walk so you can chicken shit your way out of here. And they aren't having it because I guess the Titan Legion, the Fire Wasps, are just Giga Chads.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the Titan stuff was the weakest part of the whole book. Like, I know that's what's on the cover and everything, but it's like Mortis is coming. The Death Legion is here. They're gonna win. We're gonna try to stop them. The end.
I feel like that's the necessary part of the book. That's like, hey, remember the war's still going on, and
Right.
I think it was like he did a good job being like, hey, there's a whole bunch of Titans out there that like Mortis is walking. Those don't look like Mortis. They look like zombie Titans, and it's like, oh, it's all of the dead from Beta Garment, you know, that they're
Right.
like possessed and been like, hey, now fight your brothers, and like, and I'll be, it's the bit where like they can't get all of the other knights and Titans to walk because they lost all but like one Titan, and they're just like, no, we refuse, we're scared, and then they all come together and become a new order, and it's like, okay, that's
Yeah.
you're pulling at the right heartstrings. I get it. It's a very stirring moment.
Yeah, and the great, like, they're all under the control of the Great Mother, which has been a thing they've set up quite a lot over the last few books.
Yeah,
Right.
and then she meets like her daughter, who's still part of like the Legion, the other Legio, and they're like, you know, sorry, I've pieced out from your Legion. I've got a new one. We haven't repainted yet, but like, we're all here to work together. It's gonna be great.
Right.
I do not hate it. I find the verbiage around Titans really compelling. I like that Titans walk and their guns speak, and that's how it's described.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
That's cool. I love it. I'll never not read that.
It always is.
Yeah, I mean, and
The fact that Dorn ends up unleashing some warp fucked Titans
the Order
on the good guys'
Sinister.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like they're fully embracing like the I don't know. It's like a scene where he's like finally being given the nuclear codes, and he's like, okay, great, we can unleash all of our darkest weapons on the enemy. It's not uninteresting seeing Dawn like mentally wrestle with what that means, especially
Right.
when that means comes to him by someone who got a message from the Emperor, but the Emperor hasn't sent him a message ever. Right?
Right.
I
That
think
was a
that's the
good moment.
important bit there. Yeah,
Yeah. Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, they've got mini black hole missiles that they can use. Those are fun.
those are fun. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff
Yep.
going on. I think the really interesting part of that is actually the knights who see me. It's the knights who are like all mentally shackled to like the person who's slightly higher up in their family. It's like her
Mm-hmm.
brother who is like neuro commanding his like bastard sister and refuses to like listen to the knights and is like constantly doing his own thing. He thinks he's demanding, like, he's owed honor and glory, and is really fucking things up for the Imperials by like getting out of formation and not being where he's supposed to be and all of that stuff. I think that's uh, the more interesting subplot within all the Knights and Titans and stuff.
Right.
Just because on the one hand, a lot of the book is like Shibin Khan and this guardsman and everyone pulling together with this little itty bitty baby, which we haven't talked about either. Uh,
Nope.
there's a lot of like coming together in adversity, and this guy is just like, no, fuck you, I'm owed honor, I'll do what I want. And it's important to remember that even outside of this, the rest of the Imperium and even the military forces don't care. Well, it's like there's a Titan lady who's like, I will kill you and deal with whatever fallout from your fucking family there is. But
Right.
as far as like an organizational chart goes, they didn't care that this guy was a dickhead or is enslaving his lessers and beating them. The Imperium, not a good place. Still, it's like just
Yep.
showing that like they just don't care. You know that you can have this kind of stuff, and as long as you're on our side, it's fine. We'll totally overlook it.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. And that's
Yeah.
always a pretty consistent message
Mhm.
here. I mean, it's all under the umbrella of war is hell,
Mhm.
right? With
Sure.
the concept that we're fighting for our own survival here. We're gonna allow stuff to go
Mhm.
as long as we're still fighting to stay alive.
Yeah,
On some level.
but there is a bit of it, given like the age of these characters, that feels like that has been the norm, even like for like the last.
Even before the heresy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Very true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah.
You are right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So Titans did Titany things.
Titans walk and their guns spoke, and uh, there was enough guns on the wall that they could shake the wall apart, which I feel like is a bit of a structural design flaw.
Yeah. No kidding. I like the part where they figured out that if the heretics want to take the wall down, all they got to do is like get to the fuel stores for the
Oh
guns
yeah, yeah, and like
and explode those, and that'll take the wall down. So they had to turn them off, which
right.
was again
It
a design flaw. Probably could have done better with that whole thing.
I mean, they do talk about like the guns could penetrate like 100, 200 meters into the wall, but just like wherever, that doesn't matter. You're not going to bring the wall down very quickly that way, and if you do, it's a huge pile of rubble that no one can walk across. But you can penetrate 200, 300 meters into fuel tanks and plasma generators that'll blow up like a firework, right?
Right.
I do feel like I think the first time I read this book, that idea was not something I felt like I would have thought of, and like it felt new and fresh, and like, okay, we need to breach a wall. How do we do it? It's like, okay, our guns will breach the wall, but that's not necessarily useful because the wall is a mountain, you know?
Right.
So I think I really enjoyed that on my first read, but a little less on the second.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yep. And then yeah, Shiban's all beat to hell, barely
mm-hmm.
alive.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to get back to rejoin his White Scar brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Walks towards the palace. Walks towards the wall. Picks up a random trooper who's got a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Random baby he found on the battlefield, which is anyway probably not great.
probably not great, but
And
they are
then,
fighting through huge amount. Like, it's one thing to say it's a battlefield. It's another thing to remember that like there were probably people's homes there at one point. It's not
yeah,
like someone was like, "I'm pregnant and on the front line." Oh no, I've had my baby. Um, but yeah, I don't know. He has a lot of philosophizing with his dead brothers, um, which is enjoyable. Like I don't hate it. It's a bit Vision Questy, and if you don't like Vision Quests, that's fine.
right.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoy shipping Khan. He's one of the good Space Marines is like how he's written, and like that's how White Scars in general are written. Like he is a Space
Right.
Marine who's like, oh, you have food, right? And then he's like, oh no. Then he thinks I'm gonna take the food, like I food for you and the baby, right? He's like, oh yes, yeah. You know,
Right. Which, I mean, fair.
yeah. It's I. There are 2 dozen. Oh, there aren't 2 dozen. There's a dozen legions of the Space Marines who, in that position, go. Well, it makes more sense to just kill this guy, take his food, and definitely kill the baby because that's just gonna be a burden. And like White Scars is
Yeah.
like, no, we can. I not only will I bring the baby, I will carry this man's corpse so that he gets honored. You know.
Right. Right. Yep. He is constantly being beset upon by the ghosts of his dead friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're encouraging him, which is nice.
Yep. It's good to get encouragement.
Yeah, I always thought so.
All right. Is that it for the book?
Then, no, there was something else.
Something else? What have I missed?
What
Oh,
was it?
Katsuhiro?
Yes, Katsuhiro. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So French said that when he was originally introduced in the Siege of Terra, they didn't think he would survive past the first book.
Oh, really?
So the fact that they kept him going was kind of the surprise to everyone. And the fact that he's still here is like, all right.
Right. There, in 40K, there are like war zones where the average guard deployment is measured in like minutes, and like
Right.
this is supposed to be one of the most cataclysmic, apocalyptic war zones of all time. And it's like, okay, here's a guy that was a conscript, and we're gonna remind you that he was a conscript in like the last
Constantly.
minute. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's still going. And is it the Emperor's Faith doing that? Or did he just find his calling? He definitely says the war's made veterans of everyone.
Yeah. I like, too, that he's not extra competent. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that he's alive because he's skilled
Right.
or has special powers. He's alive random chance, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody around him keeps dying, and he just kind of keeps moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like that aspect of it because it's like, yeah, sometimes soldiers in war, they are alive for reasons that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that's our guy.
That's
yeah.
our guy.
Yep. And then a space marine dies.
And names him captain.
Yep. And then he leads some final charge and gets blown up, finally. About time.
Did he get blown up?
I mean, it's like he fell, right? He doesn't die on screen.
I don't think he died.
Ah, son of a gun. He wants to die.
Oh, anyone in that situation would want to die.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's get to here.
Fine. Fine.
Oh yeah, he's definitely in the next book.
Yeah, all right.
All right, is that it for this one though?
I think so. I think that's it. War
God.
is hell. Some people are good in war. Maybe you don't try using, I mean, this is not a lesson of this book. Maybe don't try using faith to counter the war. We don't get there yet, but I imagine we will.
Well,
Whatever, we'll see.
Maybe it'll work this time.
Maybe that's what wins. Faith, this time,
Time.
faith totally worked. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good way of looking at it. This time, faith will work. All right. The next book we're reading is Warhawk by Chris Wright, which is Jagatai Khan is back by the sounds of it.
He never went anywhere. He's always been around.
So he's been around, but he wasn't like a main character in this last book.
He has not been a main character. That's true.
Yeah.
It's letting me use my points without refreshing the page this time, Somicron.
Oh my god, that's so amazing. They finally updated it.
The first time in months.
Ever, I feel like.
They spied on the podcast and they're like, what is this? What is this shenaniganry? And they put a stop to it. That's what happened.
That is what happened.
Yeah. There's also the next book in the Stormlight Archive is coming out on December 6th.
Oh.
And it's 1,500 pages.
What the fuck?
So we might have to hold off on a heresy book that week.
You could hold off on the Stormlight Archive.
No, it's
Here,
been 4 years.
Stormlight Archive spoilers. I'll just tell you what happens.
What are you talking about?
I'll just Google spoilers and then I'll tell you what happens. And then you don't need to read. You don't need to read the book.
Spoilers?
I don't know. I found an archived post on Reddit from a year ago. It's probably spoiling an older book.
Dang. Yeah, probably.
All right, fine.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I might have time to do both. I read fast. We can maybe pull this off.
Maybe you can.
Maybe.
All right.
Just a heads up.
Wind and Truth. Yeah. Wind and Truth, is that what it's called? Okay. And that's... Oh, hold on. When did you say it comes out?
December 6th.
Oh, okay. So you'll definitely get this one read for next week, because that'll be the podcast will be on the 2nd. And then maybe we can take like a week or two break there. That's fine.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll plan on it if needed.
If needed.
If needed. All right, good. Man, these are monster Falcon Paladin hours recently, aren't they?
Blame Arcane. Blame GW from putting out good books.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Too much to talk about.
Too much.
Blame Hot Frosty.
Yeah. Blame Hot Frosty.
All right, good stuff. So that is going to be it from us today then. This has been Falcon Paladin and Somicron with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, broadcast live at twitch.tv/Somicron. VODs end up on youtube.com/@Somicron. You can support the podcast by buying merch at falconpaladin.store and by going to patreon.com/Somicron and pledging support there every month, which would be nice to do.
It would, yeah.
And yeah, we'll be back in a week with more Warhammer and not more Arcane, but maybe some anime stuff and other nerdy things. So we'll be back then. Follow Somicron and subscribe to Somicron on YouTube. So we'll be back in 7 days, 6 days, I think, at this point.
6 days.
Yeah, because we're late. And so, yeah, until next time, thanks for hanging out. And you take care of yourself.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Queenswave. 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 Queenswave.
Elbow.